something that you always carry with you.
Hot sauce.
People are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people.
Okay. Is it working?
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
So who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlamagne.
It's
Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No.
Systemically and structurally, do you think America is racist? Not the people, not everybody in America.
I don't think America's racist. I think we have racism in America.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Leonard McKelvey, a.k.a. Charlemagne the Devil, who, just like Bill Maher, is making his rounds through the mainstream liberal media in order to peddle his book that nobody will read. And just like Bill Maher, Charlemagne is on The View, and he's talking to the cackling hens about the 2024 election, Joe Biden versus Trump. Now, last time we talked about Leonard, Leonard was telling the New York Times in an interview that, hey, I'm not going to endorse Joe Biden, but I'm still going to vote, okay? And he claims that he's going to vote to save democracy, okay? And we all know what that means when a liberal says that. It means that they're going to vote for Joe Biden because he does not have the cojones to come out here and say that, hey, I'm not going to vote at all, like a Cardi B, or that I'm going to do the right thing and vote for Trump like an Amber Rose, who's a woke feminist. I did a video about her earlier today. I mean, she is a progressive, and the economy's so bad, things are so bad that even she can see that Trump is a better option than Joe Biden, especially when it comes to the issue of women's rights. Again, it's just amazing how a 304 can have more common sense than somebody like a Charlamagne the God or Bill Maher or a Stephen A. Smith, all of whom are too cowardly to come out here and to say that they're not going to vote at all or they're going to vote for Trump. Again, we really live in cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs world. But with that being said, The View is panicked about the fact that Charlemagne is not openly endorsing Joe Biden, because this is what you're supposed to do if you're black and you have a significant platform in the media. You're supposed to come out here and grovel at the feet of Democrats come election time to get the black folks to vote for Democrats. And Charlemagne, although he is voting for Joe Biden, is not endorsing Joe Biden, and The View is going to beg him to do so. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and react to this clip. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold. The US dollar has lost 20% of global foreign exchange reserves, and our national debt is quickly approaching $35 trillion. No, our economy is not in great shape. Those stunning job reports that are released by the government are artificial part-time jobs. Our increasing GDP is driven by spending money that we printed. Our economy is failing and nobody is listening. Save yourself, save your family, save your future with gold. From central banks to billionaires, gold is the hedge that everybody runs to. Noble Gold can help you. From day one, you work with the same dedicated all-American expert. Whether you're a beginner or you're an expert, Noble Gold Investments will make sure that you get all the help that you need. And this month, Noble Gold Investments will give away a free gold coin to everyone who opens up a qualified account. Just use promo code GOLD. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment and there's no guarantee of any kind.
Okay. Data shows. Well, since this book is all about having real conversations, let's get to it. Let's get real. Now, you have a massive platform reaching millions of listeners, and you and I have talked about this before. You endorsed Joe Biden back in 2020, but this time around, you say you're not going to endorse anybody. Charlemagne, now is not the time, in my opinion, to sit this one out.
Yeah. I didn't say that. I never said I was sitting it out.
What you gonna do?
I'm definitely voting in November, but what I like to focus on is issues, not individuals. Like, you know, when
why not endorse?
Huh?
Why not endorse Biden?
Because if I'm sitting here telling my listeners that, you know, you have somebody out there who is a threat to democracy, you have somebody out there who said they want to, you know, suspend the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. You saw this person, you know, try to lead an attempted coup of this country. And I'm telling people that this guy is a threat to democracy. Have you ever read Project 25? There's only 2 candidates out there. So if I'm saying that about this individual, the choice is clear, right? And I've seen y'all do this on The View before. I saw y'all do this to Killer Mike when he was on The View, and Killer Mike literally sat here and said, hey, you know, I supported Keisha Lance Bottoms. I supported Ralph Warnock. I supported John Ossoff, right, in Georgia. And he said, you should support the people that I've supported. You should support the person who the people I've supported are supporting.
Okay.
That's y'all opportunity to say, well, clearly he's talking about President Biden. Why?
Yeah, so there you have it, right? There you have it. Charlamagne is basically coming out here and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to vote for Biden, even though I'm an issues voter, right? I want to vote on the issues. Well, Charlamagne, what issues is Joe Biden better than Trump on, right? Which issues? Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, because you can sit here and continue to have this democracy conversation, but Joe Biden is not better than Trump on the issue of democracy. And again, in the polls, it is showing time and time again that the American people are not being fooled by this democracy nonsense. It is essentially a wash, okay, because Democrats have been denying elections at least since Bush, okay? But again, you know, I think people like Charlamagne the God, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Bill Maher's, I think they know this, right? I think they know that the democracy thing is BS. However, that's the one thing that they can hold on to because of what happened on January 6th as an excuse to come out here and to say, well, I'm going to vote for Biden, even though I know that he's a worse candidate than Trump. I know that he's caused destruction and chaos in this country. I know that he has driven the economy off of a cliff. I know that he is marching us towards World War III, but it's okay because democracy, right? Democracy, which again is a talking point to appeal to idiots, right? Okay? These people that are running around talking about democracy, you're clearly either a consman, which I believe, again, Charlamagne the God, Stephen A. Smith, and Bill Maher kind of fall into that category, or you're just ignorant. Period. There are three issues in this election that are just simply not worth voting on because it doesn't matter who you vote for, you're going to get the same outcome. Abortion being one of them because neither party can do what they want to do when it comes to federalizing the abortion issue. The Supreme Court has spoken on the issue. So again, either side saying that they're going to do something on that, lie, right? Okay? Doesn't matter who you vote for at the federal level when it comes to that. Israel. Doesn't matter who you vote for when it comes to that issue because the elites in both parties are bought and sold by the Israel lobby, okay? So, again, you're not changing anything when it comes to that foreign conflict. Doesn't matter who you vote for. When it comes to democracy, doesn't matter who you vote for because Democrats have been denying elections since forever, right? Every election they lose, they say that we didn't really lose it. It was stolen. They'll turn around and say, Russia, okay? In fact, I would argue that if you want to save our republic, then Trump is the best vote. And the reason why is because this time around, Trump is going to take a sledgehammer to the deep state, or at the very least, he's going to attempt to do so the best way that he can, and he's preparing to do that. This is why people like Charlamagne the God are fear-mongering so much over Project 2025, because, again, this is Trump's attempt to take a sledgehammer to the bureaucracy that really is the real threat to democracy.
It's a very interesting question, what happens if Trump gets elected. First of all, I think in terms of the Middle East and in terms of East Asia, it will have little effect, okay? The interesting question is whether it will matter in Europe with regard to NATO and with regard to Putin. As we all know from the last time around with Trump, he really wanted to throw NATO down the toilet bowl. He has no use for NATO. He thinks our European allies are freeloaders, and he'd like to get rid of them. And he likes Putin. This is not surprising, and he really wanted to have good relations with Putin. He lost on both counts. The blob or the deep state, whatever you want to call it, beat him back. He is now determined, if he wins, to not let that happen again. And he is, number one, going to bring in a whole group of seasoned individuals who served with him in the first term, who share his view of the world. He didn't have those people available in 2017 when he moved in the White House, January 2017. He now feels, and I think it's correct, that he can bring in a team of individuals and they collectively can beat back the deep state, number one. And number two, at the Heritage Foundation, they're coming up with a plan for what to do once they move back into the White House in 2025. So they're going to have the people, they're going to have the plan or the grand strategy. And then the question is, can they make it work? And again, my initial point to you is I think that where they will try to change things in a fundamental way is in Europe.
Yeah, so I think that John Mearsheimer has some great points, except I don't think that Trump is going to pull out of NATO. I think he just wants them to pay their fair share for protection, especially if we're going to be openly antagonistic towards Russia. But I don't think that the United States and Russia having better relations is a bad thing, right? I actually think that that's a good thing, especially if the number one geopolitical enemy is China. Then, yeah, you might not want to be trying to fight with Russia at the same time. You might want to focus all your efforts on China. But with that being said, my point is that the biggest threat to our quote-unquote democracy really is the bureaucratic deep state, okay? And again, if you really care about democracy in this country, then solving that problem, fixing that issue is probably the number one thing, okay? And Trump is not just saying it, okay? He actually really has a plan. This is what they're so afraid of, okay? The first 100 days of Trump's presidency, he has an actual plan to do things that he couldn't accomplish in his first administration because he didn't know, okay? I mean, being president of the United States was not something that Trump, again, knew much about. Again, he's a businessman. So, again, I think that gives him some qualifications. But politics is a different animal, right? It's a different beast. And I think he learned a lot from his first administration. And that's why I'm excited to see about what Trump is going to do in his second administration because he's already preparing, right? And Charlemagne the God clearly is bought into the propaganda, trying to pretend that Project 2025 is a bad thing. Well, no, it's a good thing, right? It's always good for the president to have a plan in regards to how he's going to fulfill his promises. But again, when you talk about the issues, the real issues that are worth voting on, domestic issues like the economy, immigration, and all these other things, the choice is clear. But again, Charlamagne the God wants to present himself as some type of nuanced issue voter, right? When, again, he's just a progressive that's going to line up and vote Democrat because if he doesn't, then his career is over, right? He doesn't have the same amount of cojones as a Cardi B or an Amber Rose, right? I mean, it really is a shame to say that. It really is.
Why do y'all need us to say this if we don't feel comfortable saying it?
No, it's not that we need you to say it, but I think other folks need to hear because, you know, one of the things I'm sorry, jumped you, I'm sorry, but one of the things that we've been talking about is the fact that getting facts out through the media seems to be very difficult.
I feel like I just spewed some facts.
Yeah. Yes, but we need you to do it on your show.
Well, the reality is I think both candidates are trash. So but I am going to vote in November, and I'm going to vote my best interest, and I'm going to vote who I think, can preserve democracy. So if I think both candidates are trash, and I don't feel like, endorsing one, would you rather me endorse an individual or endorse the fact that, hey, we need to go out here and protect democracy?
And by the way,
again, this is silly talk, okay? Because again, this talking point is just a roundabout way of saying, well, we need to endorse Democrats, right? Again, whom are not, they're not protectors of democracy, okay? They're not democratic. That party, and Charlamagne the God knows this. This is what really, again, frustrates me about these so-called democracy crusaders. They're using it as a shield to excuse the inexcusable, which is the fact they're voting for Joe Biden. But regardless, again, the viewer is trying to say, well, you need to say it. You need to go on your platform and say that you're voting for Biden, right? Unequivocally, you need to endorse him. But listen, if you are somebody getting your political advice from Charlamagne the God, if you're trying to figure out who to vote for, and Charlamagne the God is somebody that you trust to keep you informed and to tell you, who the best person to vote for is, you're a lost cause anyways, right? You're a lost cause, okay? If you are influenced by the endorsement of somebody like a Charlamagne the God, you are a lost cause, okay? So, again, this, in my opinion, is pathetic, right? The View is begging this man to come out here and to essentially kiss Biden's ass the same way that they do on a daily basis, and he's not really trying to do it, but at the same time, he's saying that he's going to fall in line anyways, right? Again, this is not some type of nuanced, critical thinker. Again, this is a lost soul, right? This is a lost soul. That's what he is. Him, Stephen A. Smith, especially Stephen A. Smith, right? And Bill Maher, they're lost, okay?
Way, I think it's incredibly powerful to use your platform just to draw the contrast. I actually tend to agree that I don't think an endorsement is somehow more powerful than reminding folks the other person tried to overturn our democracy. That breaks through. But I want to ask you, because you're...
No, it doesn't break through. Why do these people just say stuff? They just say stuff with no facts to back it up. Again, when you look at the polls, when it comes to this question about democracy, it's a wash, right? It is a wash. Like, the propaganda has not worked at all. Nobody cares about January 6th anymore. All of this stuff they were talking about, again, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
We're kind of one of these, we call them double haters. I don't like to use the phrase, but
double haters?
Double haters, like not thrilled with Biden or Trump. And
I've never heard of that, like the chicken fried
I
egg.
called it.
I thought that was just called being an American nowadays. And you look at the polls,
Well,
people don't seem to be too pleased with either one of them.
And I'm right there with you. So you've called this a race between crooks, cowards, and the couch.
That's
and
right.
You say Democrats are losing the messaging game.
But let's be clear about who I say are the crooks. I say Republicans are the crooks. I say Democrats are the cowards. And I say the couch is voter apathy. And I feel like, right now it looks like, voter apathy may win. But whose fault is that?
Now, again, he got it wrong. Okay, actually, Democrats are the crooks. Republicans are the cowards. I mean, they're big cowards. Okay, that's like the main word that I use to describe the Republican Party, cowards. Okay, if they were actually crooks, then I wouldn't support them, right? But again, they're cowards. They're not crooks. Democrats are the crooks. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that are not going to vote. But hey, I'm hoping that the vast majority of those people are Democrats and liberals.
Is that our fault, or is it the candidates?
Well, and I'm curious at this juncture, 6 months out, who do you think wins?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, it's a toss-up at this point. I really don't know. I think the person who goes out there and probably energizes their base the best at this point. And, when you look at somebody like President Biden, it feels like his base is pretty pissed off at him for a number of reasons.
Help him out.
Well, no, look, I actually...
Help him out by doing what?
Well, I want to ask you something, because when you talk about crooks, we know that. We've talked about the Republicans ad nauseum here. But when you say the Democrats are cowards, how could Democrats show more courage right now in a way that speaks to you?
By doing what, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett did to Marjorie Taylor Greene the other day, I think Michelle, the former, First Lady called a play one time, and she said, when they go low, we go high. I think you got to rip that play up. Yeah. When they go low, you got to take it to the floor.
So yeah, be more ghetto, right? Be more ghetto. Okay, act like a hood rat. That's what Charlamagne the God is saying. This is his recommendation to the Democrat Party in order to beat Trump. Okay, but I mean, hey, this is what Democrats been doing, right? I mean, how long have they been talking about how Trump looks? Okay, talking about how he's so orange and this, that, and the other. This is their specialty. They've been doing that the whole time, right? The whole time. What Jasmine Crockett did in Congress was not special or, something that is uncommon for Democrats to do. This is how they always act. They've always been the party of ghetto nonsense.
I don't even think she went low on that, because I think her pointing out the hypocrisy of them not attending to the rule was going high and using an example.
And that's why
I think it was brilliant.
You're right, and that's why everything looks so normal. All of this stuff has been normalized, and it shouldn't be normalized at all. There's nothing normal about American politics. No. But the way that, Democrats react to it sometimes, they make it seem like it's normal. We got to stop acting like this stuff is normal, and you got to start calling BS where it's BS.
Well, so let me ask you this.
All right, so I'm done with this. Do we need to hear anything more from Leonard? Right. Leonard is showing that he's the one that's actually a coward. Okay. And he clearly is just a propagandist for the Democrat Party, just like all of these cackling hands on The View. And, he's just not the type of person who'll come out here that's going to endorse Joe Biden, because he knows that would be like leading hogs to the slaughter in regards to his audience. But again, if you are a part of the Breakfast Club audience and you are relying on Charlamagne the God to inform you and to tell you who to vote for, you're already a lost cause, okay? So with that being said, again, I just found it to be fascinating how The View is begging this guy to come out here and to endorse Joe Biden, even though he's basically saying, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. But you got to come out here and basically be happy about it, okay? You got to lie. You got to spread propaganda, okay, in order for these people to be happy. So, I mean, I just find it to be a very interesting conversation, and it really shows you how desperate these people are. That again, they're trying to get somebody like Charlamagne the God to push propaganda on the Breakfast Club in order to get Joe Biden reelected, even though he clearly is not satisfied or happy with Joe Biden. He just doesn't have the cojones to come out here and say that he won't vote for Joe Biden because that'll be the end of his career. Okay, just like when it comes to Stephen A. Smith. Okay, maybe not Bill Maher so much, but definitely when it comes to Charlamagne the God, Stephen A. Smith, the black folks in media, right? They don't have any room to come out here and say they're not going to vote or that they're going to vote for Trump, because for them, again, it would be the end, right? They would not be allowed on the platforms they're allowed on. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.